is on, guys? Welcome back to Spin Cycle Live. I am your host, Nathan Hale. Do we have some amazing stories for you all today? Trump has been hard at work, signing those executive actions, getting things done. The best is yet to come. But with that, I would like to welcome you all to the show. I hope you are having such a great day. And I hope we're all looking forward to getting into all this today. So what's first? Looking at the news today, I've got to say, Trump has made quite the impact on the world in just a couple of days. I mean, literally every news story has had his name in the title. I haven't seen that for a long time. I recognize he just became president and he's done a lot of stuff, so it makes sense. But the fact that there hasn't really been anything else happening in the news cycle really says a lot to what's happening in America right now. I mean, it is an all-out takeover by Donald Trump. So, if you're new to the show, welcome. We're glad to have you here. We are streaming this show every Monday and Wednesday on YouTube, X, Rumble, Instagram, any place you want to watch it, it's there. We are soon to possibly be putting some content up on Fridays. I'm not sure that's going to be yet. I have some thoughts about that, but you will get it announced. I mean, you'll see it. It'll be a little surprise for you all when it happens, but it will go up regardless of what it is. It will go up at the same time, 5 p.m. Eastern. So be on the lookout. We might be adding Monday, Wednesday, and a little bit Friday. It won't be a full show on Friday. I don't have the time for that. But it might be a little something. It might be like one little story, just a little snacky poo, a little something to hold you over until that next Monday, so you're not without a story for a while. Let's get right into these stories, folks. So what's to start? All right. So Donald Trump threatens to double taxes on foreign companies as he declares war on EU deal. So Donald Trump has threatened to double taxes on foreign nationals and companies in row over discriminatory levies on U.S. businesses. This is from the Telegraph. So the president has instructed the Secretary of the Treasury to investigate whether any foreign country subjects U.S. citizens or corporations to discriminatory taxes pursuant to Section 891 of Title 26. So Section 891 of the U.S. Code gives the president the power to double the rate of tax on foreign nationals and corporations if they judge that the countries they hail from are unfairly taxing American interests overseas. So there was a whole thing. I'm not going to read the whole entire article because there's a lot in there. If you're interested, if you're watching Rumble or YouTube, links are in the description of this video if you want to read all this for yourself. But I love to see that we finally have a leader who's ruling with an iron fist and saying, enough is enough. You're screwing us, other countries, so we're going to retaliate a little bit, right? We have to be fair to each other, so that's part of this, right? All right. That's all I got to say about that. Little story open up. Next story, the Russia-Ukraine war. So Trump threatens Russia and others with tariffs if Ukraine deal is not reached. So this is from Reuters. So this is from January 22nd, so today. U.S. President Donald Trump said on Wednesday he would add new tariffs to his sanctions threat against Russia if the country does not make a deal to end the war in Ukraine, and added that these could also be applied to other participating countries. So likely countries that Russia has trade agreements with in some way. So it's interesting to see. Using tariffs as a weapon Trump is no stranger to using tariffs as weapons. And I see this as a good move. Notice how he is not sending billions of dollars over to Ukraine right now. Notice how he's not sending money. He's actually trying to get a solution done. The left is always about throwing money at an issue and hoping that it kind of gets better or goes away. And it ended up putting a Band-Aid on it, right? The left has been putting a Band-Aid on the whole Ukrainian war situation for 4 years now. This has been happening since Joe Biden got into office, right? We've had an entire presidency in the time that all this has been happening. So I'm glad to see someone who's actually trying to stop the bleeding and not just put a Band-Aid on the wound, right? So Trump wrote on Truth Social, quote, "If we don't make a deal and soon, I have no other choice but to put high levels of taxes, tariffs, and sanctions on anything being sold by Russia to the United States and various other participating countries," Trump said. So this gets me excited, more so because this is not an empty threat anymore, right? Trump is now the president. He's putting his money where his mouth is, and he's actually making those threats. So we'll see if he actually follows through with them, right? You know, this is the time. We've been hailing Donald Trump for years now as the savior of the United States, guy who's going to make America great again. This is the time where we have to start putting that pressure on and say, hey, it's time to go to work. It's time to get things done. It's time to make American life better and greater for everyone involved, right? And we can't forget that. We cannot just ignore the news cycle anymore. We have to keep an eye on what this dude is doing, right? We have to hold him accountable if he doesn't follow through what he's promising. But I think he will follow through. And with that, one of the indicators says the fact that he signed an enormous amount of executive orders on Monday. So this comes from USA Today. So USA Today breaks down some of the executive orders that Trump has signed. So this is their daily briefing on Trump's first full day in office. So what did Trump do? So he began signing the executive orders around 7 p.m. Monday after his swearing-in ceremony and a parade, and just before the evening's inaugural ball were slated to begin. So he started with rescinding 78 executive orders approved by his predecessor, Joe Biden, including efforts to curb greenhouse gas emissions, protect federal lands from oil drilling, and reduce the cost of prescription medication. Now, I know there's a whole thing that happened with prescription medication that there was a whole tussle over a few months ago if it was a Trump thing or a Biden thing, but I'm pretty sure that Trump lowered the cost of insulin and then the Democrats and Joe Biden took credit for that. Something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like something like that happened. So USA Today is breaking down what these orders mean for you and your family. So thank you, USA Today. Thank you, because I don't know what's happening right now. What's an executive order? I need you to break it down. Thank you, USA Today. I recognize I chose a USA Today article to get this from, but I really just wanted to list more so of things that have been done, because I wasn't going to read through every single executive order that happened. That would take forever. I don't got the time for that. I got things to do and places to be, right? So let's go through this. So first thing, so migration. In one of its first actions, the new administration has turned off a function of the CBP-1 cell phone application that let migrants make appointments to enter the country at a port of entry. Migrants with appointments after Trump's noon inauguration saw their hopes crushed. Oh my God, poor things. Hopes being crushed. You know, dreams crushed. I don't feel bad. All right, so gender. So Trump declared the federal government only recognizes two sexes, male and female, a move that reverses protection for transgender people put in place under Joe Biden. I don't really know how that reverses protections for them, other than the people who are like, oh, I'm a trixic, or I'm a non-binary, I'm a whatever the heck they've come up with. I am so sick of the pronoun game, right? Look, I'm no stranger to changing sexualities and all that stuff, right? But the whole pronoun game, the whole like, oh, I'm an it, I'm a they them. How degrading is that as a person to want to call yourself an it? I call people it like to be mean to them, right? Because it's like degrading. But there are actually people out there who are like, oh yeah, I won't be called an it. I won't be called a they. I want to be called a furry. I took a hit at furries for no reason. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to the furry community that just slipped out of my mouth. If you're a furry that keeps themselves and stays away from kids, you know, go do your thing. But y'all are kind of weird. Y'all are kind of creepy. Anyways, January 6th, Trump pardoned about 1,500 people charged in the Capitol attack on January 6th for filling a campaign pledge. I haven't heard a whole lot of who was actually. They just say that 1,500 people were pardoned, and I'm assuming that they're not like the people who actually like broke things and like burned things in the Capitol. Could be wrong, but I'd be a little disappointed if we're letting criminals out of prison for doing that. But I'm assuming that these are just regular people who were there, right? Not violent criminals. I hope not. All right, so climate. Carrying out his long promise of drill baby drill agenda on American fossil fuels, Trump eliminated the so-called electric vehicle mandate and withdrew the U.S. from the Paris Climate Agreement. So global health. So Trump ordered the U.S. to exit the World Health Organization. Experts warn it's dangerous. More than a second. Stay tuned. So TikTok, Trump also has an executive order that aims to enforce the ban on TikTok for 75 days. I thought it was 90 days, actually 75 days. 75. We also have the Gulf of America now. I don't want to hear any of you out there calling it the Gulf of Mexico any longer. It is the Gulf of America. It needs to be changed. Gulf of America. Big, beautiful Gulf of America. Change it on all the maps. Change it on all the maps. So I think that was it from the USA Today article. But I wanted to show off this chart about the World Health Organization, because I feel like people are freaking out about this more than they should be. Okay. So for starters, Trump is all about winning, right? Trump's all about winning. He does not care about any other country in the world. He only cares about America. He doesn't care about Canada or China or England or Australia. He only cares about America because that's where he lives. That's where his people live, right? He only cares about America. Okay. And when America is getting ripped off, the dude has a field day, right? So America was getting ripped off in the case of the World Health Organization. Do you want to know how much the America was paying into the World Health Organization? I want you to take a guess. And I want you to double that guess, okay? Now I want you to think of who is the top contributor to the World Health Organization, okay, number 2. And number 3, where do you think the U.S. ranks in all of this, right? So the classic example might be maybe China has 1.4 billion people. India has 1.4 billion people, right? They got a lot of people living over there. Nigeria has almost as many people as we do. Same thing with Brazil. The United States has only 342 million people, right? So we have significantly less people in the United States than other countries do. I mean, India and China are both more popular than us. Indonesia and Pakistan are right up there too. Here's some other Western countries. Okay, so England has 68 million people. Germany has 84 million people, right? So these are all very, very westernized countries here, and they all have less population than us. But China and India have the biggest. China obviously is a heavy player in the world, right? So you would think, if you're a rational person, that China would be number 1 on the contributors to the World Health Organization, right? It's the World Health Organization, so shouldn't the world be paying in accordingly, right? The left is all about people paying their fair share of taxes, but China certainly hasn't in relation to the World Health Organization, because The United States has, in fact, been paying the most in the World Health Organization, far more than any other country in the world by far. So the United States in 2022-2023 paid in $1.2 billion into the World Health Organization. That was followed by Germany contributing $856 million. Keep in mind, Germany has a significantly smaller population than some of the other countries in the world, right? Well, we already saw they're not even in the top 5 most populated. Then we have the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. We have the GAVI. We have the European Commission, United Kingdom, Canada, and then Rotary International at the very bottom here pays in $177 million. Where's China on this list? Where are they at? Why aren't they present here? Where's India at? Where's Pakistan at? Where's Indonesia at? Let's take a look at this list again, right? Where are all these other countries at? Why is the United States, who has like a fourth of the population of China and India, why are they paying the most? And these two other countries aren't even on the top list of countries paying into the WHO. So United States was being ripped off, no doubt about it. So good on Trump for pulling out of that. I have no issues with that. We have public health in the United States here. I hope it'll only get better. And I think more people need to start taking care of themselves a little bit more and stop relying so much on everybody else out there. If you're sick, don't be showing up anywhere. Don't go into public. Don't be coughing on other people. If you got a snot-nosed kid with you, don't be taking a snot-nosed kid with you all over the place. Don't be getting other people sick, right? Wash your hands. If more people did some basic things to keep themselves healthy, we wouldn't be having nearly as many conversations, right? All right, so next story. So Trump announces AI infrastructure investment up to $500 million. So Trump is going to be investing a ton of money to create new jobs in technology, specifically with an AI to beat out China. So he's saying that this will create over 100,000 jobs, which, by the way, that would mean $5,000 per new job if this all goes to plan, right? That's really insignificant when you talk about the economic implications of adding 100,000 new jobs in the United States, right? You pay $5,000 for a new job. People probably pay about $5,000 right now for a lot of these jobs just in payroll taxes, right? So they'll get that money back in a second. This is a great investment in America. So he says, Trump says that this is the CEO of SoftBank. So he says that this is not just for business. This will help people's life. This will help solve many, many issues with the power of AI. I think it will. We have so many issues that supercomputing is showing that it is very powerful at. And I think that it will get even better with investments like this. So some more Trump executive orders here. I want to go through some of these. So some other executive orders that Trump signed. So Trump designated certain international cartel organizations as terrorist groups, such as MS-13. He suspended U.S. refugee admissions. So he's also ordered Homeland Security to terminate all categorical parole programs that are contrary to the policies of the United States established in my executive orders, which includes people fleeing from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. He also put in the Remain in Mexico policy. I have no issues with shutting down the country. No one else coming in right now. We got to get our ducks in a row. We got to figure out what is happening in our country. And then we'll start talking about this some more, right? So I have no issue with this whatsoever. So there's been a whole debate happening online about birthright citizenship and what that actually means. So if you're not super educated about the issue birthright citizenship, the whole idea behind it is within the 14th Amendment, there is birthright citizenship for anyone who is born in the United States and subject to the jurisdictions of that. So what has been happening is we have had illegal migrants coming in here from other countries and having a baby so that they stay in the country, right? It's called an anchor baby. We've known about this for a while. I feel like Trump really brought light to this back in 2016. But they're called anchor babies for a reason, because they anchor you in the country, right? Because ICE is less likely to deport someone. They have a child in the country, they're not going to separate you. They're less likely to separate you over someone who's single, for instance, right? So that's been the whole thing. People, when coming over, having anchor babies, that keeps them here in the country. So Democrats have been screaming, crying, 14th Amendment, you can't end birthright citizenship, which Trump has said with this executive order that he did end birthright citizenship for people whose parents are not citizens, right? If you are a citizen of the country, you still get that automatic citizenship. But the left has been screaming, oh, it's the 14th Amendment, it's the Constitution, blah, blah, blah. So the 14th Amendment was put in place for freeing black slaves, because the whole idea that was happening with that was with a bunch of slaves, a lot of them are not technically citizens of the country, right? So we're going to pass one sweeping amendment to the Constitution that says, hey, if you're a slave, you're in the United States right now, if you were born here, right? Because a lot of slaves had children on the plantations and everything. If you're born here, you're a citizen. It solves a whole lot of issues when it comes to that whole debate. And it was the 1800s. This was 1868. The 14th Amendment was passed. There weren't nearly as many people immigrating as the United States at the time. So they weren't thinking about this. And by the way, the people, the guys who I think wrote the 14th Amendment even said that it didn't apply to this situation, right? It applied specifically, is meant for Black Americans or black slaves who were becoming Americans, right? So anyways, there was that. So energy environmental executive orders, Paris Climate Treaty. So we pulled out that. Executive orders targeting DEI. So there was a paid leave mandate for all DEI employees until they can figure out what they're going to do with them. So that's great. There's been a ton of other executive orders, J6 pardoning. So there was a freeze on federal hiring. So he reinstated Schedule F, which would make it a lot easier to fire federal employees. He also announced that he signed an unconditional, that's the wrong thing I'm looking at. I know he signed something somewhere that put federal workers back in the workplace as soon as possible or immediately. So I'm interested in how that goes. I know people who are federal employees. I'm not sure if they've gone back to work or not yet. So he formally established things like the Department of Government Efficiency. Lots of good stuff happened. All right. So let's keep moving right along here. I got another list of executive orders that were signed. I don't think it's worth going through it right now. I feel like we covered pretty much all of it, right? It's in the description if you want to go and read it. This is from ABC 30. Great list, and it links, if you want to read any of them in full, it links you directly to, like, if you want to read this, it takes you right to the White House website. You can read the full executive order if you want to know more about it. All right, so last story. So Trump tears into lefty DC bishop who asked him to have mercy during National Prayer Service sermon. All right. So there was a bishop, and Trump and J.D. Vance went to this church and started getting lectured on about leftist policies. So I'll show you the video in a second, but I will read through the story first. So President Donald Trump on Wednesday tore into the nasty Democrat bishop who lectured him at the National Prayer Service as the church leader confirmed she was sending him a political message. So Trump's takedown came after having to sit through Tuesday's service in which Reverend Martina Edgar Budd, the Episcopal Bishop of D.C., turned it into a rant about illegal migrants, refugees, and the LGBT community. Oh my God, the LGBT community. Oh my God, the snowflake community. I say that as the G in LGBT, but they're the snowflake community. Let's be honest here. So, quote, the so-called bishop who spoke at the National Prayer Service on Tuesday morning was a radical left hardline Trump hater, the president wrote on his Truth Social account just after midnight. Quote, she brought her church into the world of politics and is in a very ungracious way, he said, saying she did so in a nasty tone that was not compelling or smart. I love the word nasty. It describes people so well. These people are. They're nasty smellies, right? I wouldn't want to stick one with a 10-foot pole. Look, here's that woman. She looks like a Trump hater. Let's be so honest. With that haircut and everything, those glasses, I see you. I know the look. I've seen them before, right? She looks like a Trump hater. So he signaled out that the bishop called him to have mercy on immigrant families, quote, whose children fear that their parents will be taken away. She failed to mention the large number of illegal migrants who came into our country and killed people, Trump wrote. Many were deposited from jails and mental institutions. It is a great crime wave that is taking place in the USA. On top of that, I am so sick and tired of hearing these people saying, oh my gosh, these are illegal people. These are innocent people who are coming into this country. They mean only good. All right. I don't care if you have the best intentions. If you break a law the second you step into this country, which is entering it illegally, you're not a citizen. You don't have any business being here. If you come in here without any documentation, right, you're breaking a law. So you're not innocent after all, are you? Right? So, I guess the New York Post talked to this woman and so in this speech that this bishop, quote unquote, said, she talked about gay, lesbian, and transgender children who, quote, fear for their lives. Happily confirmed late Tuesday that she meant the service as a one-on-one conversation with the president. Like I said, I'm the G in LGB. I'm doing fine. Everyone said they were going to be sending us to the camps. They said they were going to send us to the camps, the conversion camps, right? I'm still here. I'm good. Where was that executive order out of all the ones I just read you, right? There was a slurry of them. There was like a ton. None of that was in there, right? So, anyways, that's that. Let me play you this video and we'll wrap this show up. So let's see here. Let's share this video with you all so you can see it. But let's have a little watch to end this. Let's see what this very colorful individual had to say. And keep an eye on Trump and Vance's face. It's really funny.
In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now.
They're so scared right now.
There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families.
Look at JD Vance. He's like,
some who fear for their lives.
It doesn't pass the smell test, folks.
And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation. But the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are faithful members of our churches and
they all are criminals. They committed a crime coming into our country illegally. That's the crime. That's the whole issue, right? We're not talking about the morality of any individuals, right? We're talking about the fact that a crime was committed the second they came into the country. I'm also, by the way, how degrading if you are a person of South American descent, right? How degrading is it for you that every time you're described, the left is constantly saying you're dishwashers and like, you know, you're picking the crops in the field and everything, and you're working all the hard labor jobs, you're a gardener, you're cleaning toilets. How degrading is that? Like, imagine if like a group was saying that, like, just any racial group in general, just like putting that in there. By the way, there are plenty of immigrants who have come into this country who have done great things, and I'm sure there are plenty of illegal immigrants too who have also gone off and done great things as well. That's not to say that it's any less of a crime that it did good stuff in the United States versus bad things, right? You still broke a law as soon as you came in. But how degrading is that every time this group is being described, right? This is what the left actually like thinks. They think that you're literally trash if you are working these jobs, right? They can't think of you doing anything else other than working these low wage, low skill labor jobs. Okay. But that's all I have for the show today. I hope you all enjoyed it. We will be back here on Monday, but maybe Friday, depending on, what's going on. We'll see. But we'll be back again on Monday, regardless, with another episode of Spin Cycle Live. Please give us a subscribe on YouTube, on Rumble if you're watching. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. Share this video, share this with friends. Let people know how great the show is. We are growing in numbers every single day, and we are always trying to get more people watching. The more, the merrier. And hey, if this show starts making money, I'll buy a nicer webcam. But that's an aside, right? So you can see my beautiful face in even more high definition, right? But that's all I got for you all today. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you all again on Monday, maybe Friday for a little special surprise. But leave me some comments, interact with me on Twitter. I love talking with all of you. But with that, I will see you all in the next one. Peace out. Bye.